Si Jampang is the warrior of Betawi, which is known as Robin Hood from Betawi. He often robbed the property of landlords and greedy rich people in the area of Grogol, Depok. Then, his pursuit of robbery were distributed to the poor. For them, Jampang is a hero, but to landlords and rich people, Jampang is formidable foe. Here's the story of Si Jampang, Robin Hood from Betawi. Betawi has a legendary warrior that called Robin Hood from Betawi. He is the famous Jampang, handsome and powerful. His name is taken from the name of his mother's hometown, namely the Jampang area in Sukabumi, West Java. His father is from Banten. Si Jampang and his wife live in Grogol, Depok. They have a son who is called the Jampang Muda. However, their happiness did not last long. Jampang's wife died of illness. Since then, Jampang has taken care of his only child alone because he wants to see his son become a pious child and be useful to society. He also entrusts him to a boarding school. The Jampang felt lonely. From there, he wanted to help the Betawi people who were suffering from the pressure of the landlords and miserly rich people. Si Jampang began to rob the property of the landlords and rich people in the Grogol area. The landlords and rich people were furious. However, the people were happy because the loot was also distributed to them. But Jampang also became famous as a robber, until his popularity reached the ears of Kiai and Santri in Islamic boarding school, which is Jampang Muda School. Jampang Muda was embarrassed because his father was a robber. One day, Jampang's son came home with all his clothes.
Assalamualaikum, Dad. Waalaikumsalam. Hey son, why did you bring all your clothes home?
Jampang's son just shook his head.
I don't want to study anymore, Dad. Isn't you from Banten as ancient? I think majority the people of Banten are religious. But why are you robbing? Everyone in the boarding school is talking about you.
The boy shook his head again because he was really embarrassed because his father's behavior.
So what do you want, son? Do you want to marry?
Not that. I mean you must get married soon, so that you won't be late anymore.
Hearing his son's word, Jampang just laughed heartily.
Oh, so you just want a new mother figure, huh? Alright, I'll soon find a new mother for you.
The child was silent, but Jampang remembered a widow named Mayangsari who had a son named Abdi. The widow is Sarba's ex-wife, which is his childhood friend when they were still living in Banten. One day, Jampang visited Mayangsari's house. Cupid, the maid, was frightened to see the arrival of Jampang, who was known as a robber. She put nervously invited Si Jampang to sit down and called Mayangsari, and then she went out to meet Jampang. She told him about her husband death.
In the past, we visited the tomb of Mount Kepugan. There, Salzhabilla fought to donate a pair of buffalo to the tomb if he was blessed with children. However, after we had a daughter named Abdi, Salzhabilla forgot his vows. People say that was the cause of Salzhabilla death. I confused because Abdi went to the school in the Bandung and needed a lot of money, even though I own house left. Luckily, Bang Salba left a little inheritance that could help Abdi's school fees.
Don't worry about Abdi. Later on, I will just take care of her.
Mayangsari was confused.
Look, Maya, you're now a widow, and I'm also a widower. It would be better if we just got married now.
Hey Jampang, you think you're flower? If you want to marry someone else. I would rather remain a widow than marry a robber.
Hearing those words, Jampang was very embarrassed. He quickly left the house, but in his heart he was determined to marry Mayangsari. At that time, he went straight to Sharpin's house, his nephew who has often invited to rob. Si Jampang told what he had just experienced at Mayangsari's house.
Hey, Sarpin! I have to marry her, but therefore I need a shaman to melt with her.
Oh, I know a powerful shaman, sir. His name is Pak Dul from Gabus village.
That same day, Jampang accompanied by Sarpin went to Kampung Gabus. Arriving at Pak Dul's house, he conveyed his meaning. The shaman gave magic to the Jampang. In the end, Mayangsari went crazy with witchcraft. He often laughs and calls out Jampang's name. Abdi, who had just returned from Bandung, was surprised to see his mother's behavior. Abdi was sad to see his mother's condition. He immediately sought information about a shaman who could cure his mother. Finally, Abdi found Pak Dul from Kampung Gabus. Without thinking, he immediately went to the shaman's house to ask for help. The shaman also agreed to Abdi's request. Because he himself made the spell, he was able to put it out easily. Immediately, Mayangsari recovered and did not remember Jampang anymore. The next day, Abdi met Jampang. He spoke nicely to Jampang so he wouldn't bother his mother anymore.
Mr. Jampang, I would never give you permission to marry my mother.
What? What do you say? I can't marry your mother? No.
It's not that you can't, but there is a prerequisite. You have to give a pair of buffalo as her dowry.
Okay, Abdi. I will fulfill your requirement soon. Just go back to your house.
One night, Jampang with Sarpin went to Haji Saud's house wearing a mask and carrying a machete. Both managed to steal a pair of buffalo belonging to Haji Saud with ease. However, just as they were about to leave the village door, dozens of police officers had surrounded them. The police officers pointed long-barreled rifles. Jampang and Sarpin could not do anything. They were finally put in prisons and Jampang, as a robber kingpin, was sentenced to death. Hearing the news, the landlord and rich people were overjoyed. On the other hand, people are sad. For them, Jampang is not just a robber, but he is a hero.
Help, robber!
They were finally put in prisons and Jampang, as a robber kingpin, was sentenced to death. Hearing the news, the landlord and rich people were overjoyed. On the other hand, people are sad. For them, Jampang is not just a robber, but he is a hero.